88% of the users who use website mobile app return back to their cart, return back to their homepage. It's because of bad user experience. It's because of the engagement is bad. Have you ever wondered why it is? In this video, I'm going to break you a major reason for it, which is called signifier. How do you signify the user? How do you communicate the user that this particular signal, this particular icon, this particular image corresponds to this meaning? If that engagement is not there, people lose interest and then they go back. That is why the conversion rates drop down, the kind of lead generation happens is low, and people who are able to engage in the content is getting low. It's all because of designing poor signifiers. In this video, I'm going to break down what is that signifiers and how to improve that. Okay, let's jump in. In the world of UI design, people don't understand this basic terminology called signifier, because signifier is very easy to understand. It's not a very complicated term. That's why we take it too granted and we don't consciously implement any of these things. First, let's understand what is this particular concept about. Okay, the definition is very simple. See, it's an indication, it's a signal, it's a way in which you guide the user through your signifiers. See, it could be anything. Like, you can do it in a button, you can do it in an arrow, you can do it in a figure, you can do it using links, up to you. Okay, it's all the way in which you can do. Maybe you can use using auditory way, you can use by tactile way. So the methods is very different, but on the concept it is called indicators. Okay, that's the name itself suggests, which is signifier. When you take why it is very important in design, it provides a clarity and it affords the people to go and use it. Okay, affordance, like how do I afford it to take it? Like, let's say this is how it could be taken, this is how it could be taken. So the way in which the affordance is, it's there, signifies the user that this should be holded like this should be taken like this should be used like this. So that's applicable for physical as well as digital products, and also it enhances the user experience. What are the neuroscience backing behind it? See, we have to understand the neuroscience, okay? Because then and only we can see the patterns, how it can be really seen in a very clear way. Human brain is wired to recognize certain patterns, guys. That's how we use clusters, we use families, we use certain signifiers. If it is relatable to our experience, we'll take it out. Or else what happens is, we'll not take it very seriously, we'll just ignore it, it goes away in your memory. How people can remember your in your application, user experience for a longer time? By understanding this neuroscience background and then creating the relativity for your user and the signifier what you're doing. That's why it's very difficult. That's why it's not very correct to design something very different. Then there is no relativity for the user and the application what you're designing. People will think it's not for me. Okay, so that relativity needs to be there, because the brain quickly processes this information and understand what actions to take, and this is rooted in the ability to recognize and respond. And also, if you design too much high, the cognitive load will be very high and people will feel overwhelmed. Okay, so signifiers helps to manage the cognitive load by providing clear directions and what users can do. And when it comes to memory, like, people remember this. I already told you this. If the retention is not high, user experience will be definitely bad to website. Okay, so the next part, what you're going to see, let's understand the major statistics and information regarding this, because we should not only understand what it is and what are the change which is required to make a signifier, why it is happening, but let us understand in the industry how much impactful it is. Because, okay, let me give you very significant understanding. Whatever is the time required to complete a task, if it takes too much of the time, then the signifier has not given a proper value. Maybe the icon, maybe the what you call the 3D model icon, whatever you're making, or maybe the graphics, whatever you're making, maybe the interface what you're trying to communicate is not really signifying the proper meaning. Okay, in fact, this delays the time. The study by Nielsen Norman groups prove that it can increase the task time by up to 25%. Also, 88% of the users report higher satisfaction rate with interfaces which are better signifiers. It is significantly high, almost 90% of the people. And also, research from Interaction Design Foundation showed that interfaces with effective signifiers can reduce the error up to 30%. Let's say if you're working in a medical industry, aeronautical, what happens if you make an error? Very big disaster and a catastrophe happens. So the error prevention is very important in terms of a high critical fields. That's why the signifier plays a major role. The way in which you put an arrow, the way in which it communicates the meaning, it all matters a lot. If the understanding was different, then the people will take a wrong decision, and in the mid of the air when the flight is flying, it's gone, right? So that much of importance it is. And also, a report by Design Management Institute found that 20% higher engagement rate appears. Engagement is very important because it helps users in terms of conversion ratio, in terms of making them as a lead or a customer. So businesses are thriving majorly on this particular user interface part. That's why the UI UX designers are more needed than before to make sure these things are happening, implementing in a proper way, or else it would be still be done with a conventional testing guy or a coding guy would do it, would develop a very good interface. But a UI UX designer can go very specific and understand the cognitive ability of the human and how the signifier can connect and then create a beautiful design. Let me give you one case study. Okay, 4 case studies. One is Dropbox. The problem is it is very difficult to understand the Dropbox interface. What happened is they created a step-by-step guide. They created a very guided process so that people can find what is relevant. You know what are the reasons for that? By using these visual clues, they reduce the cognitive load. That's the neuroscience backing. Because of that, you will not believe 25% increase has happened in the first few weeks of the usage. A brand or a product is really successful in the initial engagement. After that, only people develop a perception that this is a very high quality brand, product, service, I can use it forever. Or else people unsubscribe it, people don't use it. So the very first initial interface is very important. And you can see the task completion rate improved by 30% and also the user satisfaction increased by 20%. So everything do matters. Let's understand another case study, Airbnb. The problem is people abandon this because of confusion. I told you, right? People go up to 88% of the people come back. 88% of the people come back. It's because of this reason, confusion. To be very honest, when I did Airbnb application and started using, I definitely did not get the clarity. What is this signifying? Okay. The point, how they solved it is, they used visual cues. They used progress bars, a feedback which can be very dynamic in nature based on the input, whatever you're searching, the filters, the search, everything is being automated and put in that way. And these changes leverage the platform to recognize better. And this helped having more control and confidence. So that's the point. And it increased the users' booking ratio by 15% and also decreased error by 20%. This is a significant value. Okay. See, now you can understand, guys, why certain applications and products are really doing better. And if you take an example of Google Maps, the problem is there with difficulty in finding the feature, pulsating icons, color-coded paths. So these are all the interactive things which they created. And what are the neuroscience backing? High cognitive load, we have to reduce it. That's the backing. Okay. See, guys, how I'm trying to relate the point of the problem, solution, and the scientific background behind it. Because whatever we do, it will impact it with thousands of people there. So you need to understand the impact what it's going to create before putting a small icon, dot, drawing, icon, picture, anything. Okay. So finally, this improves in 20% increase of the session duration, and also task efficiency goes up by 25% and user satisfaction happens. So the neuroscience backing is this signifies reduces the cognitive bias by making the feature more discoverable. Whatever the case studies we have seen, it's all happening in the industry. It's not like it's not happening. So it is significantly converting into a business impact and output. And because of that, businesses are also getting profit from their customers, and they're getting referrals and resales. And then the product and brand is because of this user experience factor. Even when you take a big brands like Apple, Google Map, they take meticulously very very focused attention towards making it very perfect. And also the small players, the medium scale industries, even the manufacturing industries, the other non-design related industries, what happened is they started paying close attention towards creating a meaningful signifiers, meaningful user interfaces, so that the user is really satisfied and doing its purpose. And you will never believe this has become more compared to the last 3 to 5 years. Even the 1990s, when this particular terminology started, people were not taking it very seriously, and it was just like that. It's in the syllabus and people do it little bit. People take care very seriously, like people like Apple and all these people have really did it, but predominantly it was not used. But because of the increasing usage in the online internet, particularly the acceleration due to the pandemic, the usage has become more. People have started using interfaces like never before. That's the reason why designers are also needed more, and in subsequent to it, the detail to the attention to grab the people's engagement and distinguish among your competitors is also very high. So that is why we need to be very conversant towards this topic in order to create an impactful user interface. I hope this video is very clear for you to understand what is signifier and how it impacts in a greater way. Let me know what are you challenged about this thing, and whatever you have as a signifier which you find in your nearby product and service, whatever you are thinking about an additional product, physical product, let me know in the comments. I can be able to correct you whether you have taken the wrong signifier or the right signifier in order to improve that. Because when you see action, when you see product in a cyclical way, see it continuously, what are the signifier, what it is not signifying, what it can be improved to make the signifier more impactful for the user. So your brain constantly keeps working on it. Whenever you design an interface, popping up with you. Okay, I hope this concept is clear. We'll see you in another video.